Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you also very much for joining us. Tonight's shir is dedicated by A.B. Spry, and he does so that he should have nachas from his entire family for many, many years, and by Michal Avram Chavin, that we should all finish Shas with Gesund. We have a special occasion tonight. It's Saba's birthday, and we wish Saba a very big happy birthday. And Saba, you could give everybody a bracha.
I give the whole Chabura, says the Azisa Pesach, Lo Yitanges, Lo Yitzurah, no Hasura.
Amen. 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 Yeah. All right. I also want to say that I said in shul when I spoke after Mincha that it's really surreal that today, because of airfare, I was able to broadcast to you last night from Chicago, and here I am back now broadcasting from my shul. In the morning I was in Ramosha's sister's grandson's shul and spoke there, and I want to tell everybody, Marshall did you all proud. He really, my wife and I, he rolled out the red carpet to us and really made sure that, I was able to be by the chasana and back by the chasana and give shir and upload the shir and even have Pepsi, which was really special, and a good Frank, and it really was. It was I don't know if it was 24 hours, but it was a remarkable. I think it was even less than 24 hours that I was in Chicago, but it was really right. It was really a memorable occasion. Okay, as a matter of fact, today's shir I prepared entirely in O'Hara International Airport. And they have, it's really very nice. They have, by the gate, they have a very comfortable table with even a privacy wall in front of it, so you don't have to worry that you're looking at any unsneeristic of women while you're learning. It's really, I was able to prepare the entire shir, Marshall. That's because you got me there on time to the airport. I prepared the entire daf before I boarded, and I was able to finish writing the Haggadah shir, tonight's Haggadah shir, on the plane. Although the ride, what?
You get to eat your lunch also?
Yes. While I was preparing, we ate before we boarded. I will say that this flight back was quite bumpy. The stewardess at the end of the flight said, "Thank you for flying the not-so-friendly skies of United." That's how it was the pilots told the stewardesses in the beginning, the pilot told the stewardesses, please forgive the stewardesses, but they're not going to serve drinks or snacks. The first 25 minutes, I want them to be in their seat belted. So it was quite rocky in the beginning, and it's interesting. It's interesting that I always talk to the captain and everything and thank them. When we got off the plane, I met two other pilots, and we were talking to the pilot about the turbulence, and he said, "Look, I'm flying 30 years." He says, "When I'm up there in the cockpit, I feel bad that I'm shaking people around. But," he said, "I want to tell you, I'm doing this 30 years. If there's turbulence, I never worry. The plane is built to handle much worse turbulence than you experience today. He says, that's not a source. And he said to me, please believe me, I'm flying 30 years and I flew into turbulence that you can't imagine. He says these planes today are really built to handle this kind of turbulence. So that's a very good thing to hear. But anyway, Barish who flies over. Barish, are you in Boston now?
Yeah, I'm still in Boston.
How's your mother?
Today was a good day. She was up and walking and started to eat a little bit, and so it was a positive day.
Give us her name.
Miriam Sarabas Vega.
Miriam Sarabas Vega. So there you have it. Here's another guy like Barish who's flying around now. He's in Boston, and probably Barish, you drove to Boston, right? Yeah, he drives to Muncie, then he drives to Boston. That's also a little surreal. But anyway, she should have a refuah shalema. We also learned for the Chavra Adaf, Rabbi Kranz, Yaakov Avadia, Ben Freda Rivka. He should also have a refuah shalema b'sech shachar Yisrael. By the way, getting together with Marshall gave me, once again, a really big desire that we should try to make a Shabbaton with the whole daf and their wives. It would really, really be nice. We need to put together a committee. Shelley, you got to get some colleagues. I know Mark Frankel will be on the board. We have to put together a board.
I'd like to be the man behind the man behind the man.
Right, the man behind the man behind the man. Meaning that.
After those frames, Mark.
Meaning he's going to get himself pom-poms and cheer on whoever really wants to do it. Anyway, okay, so we welcome in Barish Gesselman, Mark Frankel, Shimon Klein, our birthday boy Saba, Dr. Guy, Michal, Marshall Castle, Aaron Swade, Nachman Chapler, Shalom Fogel, Irving Fishbaum, Eli Yudel, Mo Kushner, Dr. Black, Shelley Zeitland, Mel Zachten, Yitzi Kutz, Yitzi Fuchs, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, Yitzchak Muller, Ilya Shutman, Naftali Javelin, David Silverman. Jay Siegel is watching. Jay Siegel was live at the shir last night. It was great to meet you, Jay. Sandy Grunfeld we welcome you in. David Helfgott. Here in Shul, we have wonderful people waiting patiently here in Shul. Gedalia Engel and Reb Kramer and Reb Avram Rezepkowitz, Michal Avram, Ruvain Shanet, David Helfgott and Kol Loshin. We're holding by the new Mishnah on Daf Mem Beis. Daf Mem Beis, I always like Daf Mem Beis. That's Mem Beis is Ridibarta Bum. You should speak about them, and them, of course, is Divrei Torah. The Bum, Beis is Bereshis, and Mem is Me'emosai, the first word in the oral law. So this is a good daf, and the Mishnah tells us, Hamafkel Mois Eitzel Chaver. Now, let's see, who would be irresponsible with my money? Who didn't I see for a Marshall, right? So if I deposit my money by Marshall, Saran, if he wraps them up with Shilon La'achurav, and it slings it behind his back so that anybody could come and take it without even realizing it, or he entrusted it to his minor children, or he improperly locked the door. Why? He didn't guard it in the proper manner of shaymim. However, if he guards it properly, Potter, he's exempt. So the Gemara says, Bishleima Kulu, I understand all of these Shleishim Kederach HaShaymim. But if he wrapped them up and he slung it behind his back, what should he have done? What would have been the proper way to watch it? Bind the money in your hand. Hold it in your hand. Don't put it behind your back where you can't see where somebody skulking like Mar could take it from him. So afal pisha tzrurin, even though they're bundled, still you should have it in your hand. So now the Gemara is going to embark because Mark told me, Rabbi Weiss, you went away, you had some time, give us some Agadah to Gemara. Where was
that? I got it the last night. It goes really good with Frank's.
Now, I have to tell you, Rabbi Say, the Franks were good, but they weren't on a grill. He didn't fire up a grill. I just want to tell you something. I don't want anybody to get carried away. I mean, if you came to me for Franks, I would give them sizzling on a grill. He's busy. He has all these cars and convertibles and everything. He doesn't have time to waste with Franks. He just.
Up on the engine while you're driving back from the airport.
So my wife said it's the first time she ever sat in a convertible. She never sat in a convertible. I sent her daughters the picture. They loved it. But anyway, V'amar Rabbi Yitzchak, la'olam yehi kasbei shel adam motzi biyadai. A person should always have money available. Now, Rashi over here seems to learn that you should have money available so that if there is a good deal, you could chop it up. Sometimes it's a good deal. You're in the car, and you see a sign. There's a yard sale, and you pull up. And there's a guy that has in a cigar box, a bunch of baseball cards from the 1950s. And he's selling the whole cigar box for $100. Now that cigar box could be worth $10,000, right? But you don't have the money. You can't buy it. Right? So Rashi tells us a person should always have money at hand that he should be able to buy a metzia. So he should have money available. Also, should bind the money in your hand. Also, a person should have money available in case they should need it. In case there's an emergency, a person should have a nest egg that's available. Rabbi Yitzchak says you should diversify your savings. He should divide his money into three areas. Shlish b'karka, a third into real estate. Or shlish b'parkamatya, a third into business. In other words, investments. V'shlish tachas yadei, and a third that's available. The real estate is very secure, but it doesn't produce money necessarily. The business will produce more money, but it's a risk. And now here we have a famous Gemara. Blessing is found by something that is hidden from the eye. Shenemar Yitzav Hashem itcha es habracha ba'asamecha. Hashem will command blessing in your silo. But the word asamecha also contains in it samui, hidden. So therefore blessing is found by something that is hidden. Now, there's two intents over here. The first intent is that one of the great dangers to a person's possessions is ayin hara, the evil eye. When what we have generates other people's jealousy, that can hurt what we have. So if something is hidden from the eye, it is protected. But there's another important lesson over here. You see, we're not worthy of open miracles. Or at least most of us aren't. I can't talk for everybody here. We have some choshev people over here. But most of us are not worthy for open miracles. If something is known, then in order for it to increase, there has to be an open miracle. You have in the silo 50 bushels. How's it going to become 75 bushels? Only with an open miracle. If you don't know what's there, it could increase and it won't be an open miracle because you didn't know what was there. Now, it's a long time ago, but for many, many years, I sent out tapes to subscribers. Shelley was one of my subscribers here on the Daf. Elliot Udell was a subscriber. Shimon Klein was a subscriber. I sent out, and it was a big part of my parnasa. The good of Staten Island didn't have much money to pay me. Baruch Hashem, they paid my mortgage and they gave my medical policy. But other than that, I didn't get anything. I had 6 children, which I had to feed and I had to clothe, etc. So I had a subscription of tapes, and I got paid for that. I never knew ever how many subscribers I had. My Rebbetzin Aleh Shalom used to say to me, "Come on, you could tell me how many subscribers do you have?" So I said, "Mem Libby, I don't know." She said, "But you have to order tapes, you have to buy stamps, you have to order envelopes, you have to." So I said, I always order extra. I don't know. And I used to tell her, "Eina bracha shayra ela b'davar asamim minayin." And I never knew ever how many subscribers I had. The Gemara tells us, as it repeats this lesson, Tana Debei Rabbi Yishmael, Eina bracha mitzuya, blessing isn't found, ela b'davar she'ein ha'ayin shaletes by, something that the eye doesn't hold sway over. Shenemar yisav Hashem itcha es habracha ba'asamecha. According to this drasha, it's literal. That Hashem instructed you the bracha in your silo, where it's in the silo and hidden from the eye. When a person goes to measure his threshing floor, his grain, because he has to take off Trumas Amaisis. Now he has to measure it, because he has to take off Trumas Amaisis. So Omar, he says, Yiratzam l'fanecha Hashem Elokeinu. He says, may it be your will, Hashem, shetishlach bracha b'masa yadeinu. Because he's doing it before he measures it. So he asks Hashem that he should send a blessing in his handiwork. His chalamid, when he starts to measure it, so now he's fulfilling the mitzvah of Afrashas Truma and Meiser. So Amar Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Hasheleach Bracha B'Kriya Zeh, who sends blessing in this pile. Modad V'Achar Kach Birach, if he measures it and then makes the blessing that Hashem is going to send, once he measures it, so then it has to be a Neis Nigla. We don't ask Hashem for a Neis Nigla. That's a Tfilah Shav. How is that Tfilah Shav? That's like a person that prays to have a boy after 40 days from the conception. Once it's 40 days, the Uber is created. It is what it is. So you can't say, I want it to be a boy. That's a Tfilah Shav. L'fi she'eina bracha mitzuya, blessing is not found. Loi b'davar ha'shakal, not by something that's weighed. V'loi b'davar ha'moded, not by something that's measured. V'loi b'davar ha'moni, not by something that's counted. Ela b'davar ha'samim min ha'ayin, something that's concealed from the eye. Shenema yitzav Hashem itcha, Hashem will command as a bracha, blessing b'asamecha, in things that are hidden. Wow, we haven't had half an Amud go by so fast and so easy in a very long time. Very long time. I think it's a product of Marshall's Frankfurters. Now, or maybe the Pepsi.
Oh, the second one.
Now, Amar Shmuel, and by the way, I didn't mean to put down Marshall's Franks. They were very tasty. They were very good quality Frankfurters, I'll tell you that much. Amar Shmuel, Ksafim ein lehem shmira ela bekarka. When we said that you hold it in the hand, that's when you're traveling. But at home, you should put it in the ground in order to safeguard it. Amar Rava, Umaydei Shmuel be'erev Shabbos bein hashmashes, but Shmuel is Maida that if Chatzkel gives the money to Marshall right before Shabbos, the lo yatirchu Rabbanan. The Rabbanan didn't make him trouble to go. He's already wearing his Shabbos tikkun begadim. He doesn't have to go to his backyard with a shovel and start digging a hole to put the money in the hole. However, if he waited Matzah Shabbos to bury it, and he didn't bury it, and then there was a break-in, then he's kai. However, if the person who gave him the money is a Talmudic scholar who's going to be very careful to fulfill mitzvahs, then on Matzah Shabbos he doesn't have to bury it, because the owner might come back to get it in order to buy wine for Havdalah. It's very important to have wine for Havdalah. Savar Dilma Mabayile Zuzay, maybe he's going to want his money back, Lavdalta. Now we have Jay Siegel here in person for our 27th Zoomer of the evening. Very nice to have everybody here. Yitzi, have you had any further information about Rabbi Kranz?
He's Baruch Hashem doing well with his treatment, going better Baruch Hashem than he anticipated. I spoke to him last night.
Oh, that's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. You make sure to tell him that we're all gunning for him.
I will.
I mean, I'm going to try to tell him that myself, but we are all.
Does he have a phone number that we could call him? Could we him before we slam him?
I'm not sure if he's ready for that yet. Maybe let's wait till next week. Correct, Yitzi? Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I think the correct
You can
term
send
is
him
more
messages on
rooting for
Rooting for
him.
him.
Gunning for him is like...
Also, we could send messages on the chat. He pays attention
Right.
to our chat.
Trying to get him.
Okay, I was corrected. We only gun for Marshall. We're rooting for Rabbi Kranz. But anyway, now it's not universally the best way to hide money by putting it in the ground. Now, when the thieves know that everyone puts it in the ground, they go and they bang the ground to see if it's hollow. So then, ein lehem shmira ela b'shmei kaira. Then you should put the money in the beams of your roof. Va'idna deshchichei prumai. Nowadays, where people know that people keep money in the roof and they break the roof, that's where they start. Then ein lehem shmira ela beinei urbe. Then you should put the money in between the bricks of your wall. Amarava Maida Shmuel b'kaisel. Shmuel says you don't have to put it between the bricks. You can make a hollow in the wall. However, but today where they bang on the wall to see if there's a hollow in the wall, then ein lehem shmira ela b'tefach hasamach lekarka b'tefach hasamach l'shmei kaira. Then there's only shmira in the tefach next to the ground in the wall, or the tefach next to the roof, where it's not going to make a hollow sound where you bang it. After all, we're coming to Pesach now, and let's see. I see that that Jay was not able to get on yet. He's trying to get on. Jay, don't give up. We want to see you. Says the Gemara. Oh, there's Jay. There's Jay with the menorah over there. It was a pleasure to meet Jay in person. So we learned about Pesach, that lo yaleinu chometz shenafla alav mapilis. If a house collapsed on top of chometz, harihu k'mavur, then you don't have to worry about it. It's as if it's already destroyed. Reb Shimon Gamliel Omer, kol she'ena kelev yochel l'chapesh acharav. That's l'chapesh acharav. That's only if a dog won't rummage after it. The Tama, we learned kama chafishas hakelev. How deep does it have to be that the dog won't rummage after it? Gimel tvachim. It has to be deep 3 tvachim. Hachamai. Here, how deep do you have to put the coins? Miba inon shloisha tvachim. Does Marshall have to put it 3 tvachim down? Oiloi. So Amalei, he says, a dog is different. Because a dog, we want to put it where the dog can't smell it. Hasam misham reicha, where the dog can't smell the chametz, but inon gimel tvachim. You need a depth of 3 tvachim. Hacha misham ichsuye me'ena. He's burying it so thieves can't see it, to conceal it from the eye. Like but inon gimel tvachim. It doesn't have to be 3 tvachim. The kama, how deep does it have to be? Amaraf from Mesichra tefach. It has to be deep a tefach. Now, Hahu Gavra, we all know that when it says Hahu Gavra, that's Marshall. Hahu Gavra, that guy, Hahu Gavra, the Afghan, actually, it was Chatzkel. The Afghan Zuze Gabe Chavre, that deposited money by Marshall. Right? Osvinu b'tzrifa de urbani. He put it in a willow hut. He had a small conical willow hut in his backyard. Now, normal people, usually don't put money in their willow huts. So thieves don't look for it there. So, ignav. But at the end, it was stolen. So the question is, here's an interesting question. It's not considered negligent to put it in the hut, because thieves don't look there. But those huts are highly flammable. And it is negligent that it could have gone up in flames. But at the end, it didn't go up in flames, it got stolen. So, Amar Rav Yosef, Afal Gavdili Inyan Ganve, even though that when it comes to the question of being stolen, Nitirusa, it's a good protection, but Le'inyan Nura, but because it's very highly flammable, so to put his $1,000 in paperbacks there, Pshiyuzai, it was negligent. So what is this an example of Tchilasa b'Pshiyah v'Seifa b'Ainis? Have a Tchilasa b'Pshiyah v'Seifa b'Ainis, and this man Yama holds that if initially it was negligent on the question of a fire, and at the end it was stolen, which is an Ainis, he's Chayiv. Ikadam, right? There's another version, the other way around. Afal Gavdila Inyan Nura Pshiyusai, even though if it would have gone up in flames, it would have been sheer negligence. But Le'inyan Ganve, the fact that somebody stole it, Nitirusi, that's a good protection against thieves. And this is an example of Tchilasa b'Pshiyah v'Seifa b'Ainis, and he's potter. So what's the halacha? What do you think the halacha is? Of course, we throw the book at Marshall. The Ilchasa and the halacha is Tchilasa b'Pshiyah v'Seifa b'Ainis chayiv. Marshall, the honeymoon is over. Now,
Which book is getting thrown at me?
power benching. Now, the hardcover says the Gemara. As we're welcome from, now we welcome in Yehuda from Yerushalayim. Good to have you, Reb Yehuda. all the way from Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh. Says the Gemara, another case. Hahu Gavra, the Afkid Zuzeh Gabe Chavre. So here, Chatzkel leaves but money by Marshall. He comes back 10 days later. Amalei Hovli Zuzai. He tells Marshall, give me my money. Now Marshall hid it so well that he forgot where he hid it. Amalei lo yadana heicha izvina. I don't know where I put it. So what do you do with a guy like that? He hid it so well that he can't find it. So also the comment of Rav, they came before Rav, Amalei kolo yadana. If the guy says he doesn't know where he hid it, pshiyusai, it's considered negligence. And zil shlim, go pay up. How gavra the afkid zuze gabe chavre. Now here's an interesting case. What happened is that somebody left money by Marshall, and Marshall gave it to his mother to guard it. Ashlimnu le'ime, he gave it to his mother. V'oisvinu bekartelisa, she put it in a chest. She had a place where she keeps precious items. She put it in a chest. The ignav, and it was stolen. So now, here's the question. You know, Marshall would have been held responsible if he put it into the chest, because you have to put it in the ground. But he gave it to his mother. Now we learned that when I give something to a shomer, it's understood that he might give it to his family members. So Marshall had the right to give it to his family members. So that in itself is not considered, surprisingly, it's not considered a negligence on the part of Marshall. That's not considered a negligence. So, Amar Rava, Heichi nidainu daine lahaydina. How should we judge this case? Namelei ledidei zil shlim. We should tell Marshall, pay up. So Marshall says, I was in my right to give it to a family member to watch. Amar kala mafkid al das ishto banavu mafkid. When you deposit something by someone, it's assumed that he's going to give it to his wife, to his children, or another family member. Namelei le'ime zil shlimei. Tell the mother that she should have to pay. Amra, she says, I wasn't negligent. He didn't tell me that it wasn't his. Lo yamali the lavdi deininu. He didn't tell me it wasn't his. My son's things I could put into a chest. She didn't tell me it wasn't his, the akbarinu, that I should bury it. So then the Gemara says, Neimalei, let's tell Marshall that you should have said that it was a pikadon. Amai loy amrullah. So he says, no, I know my mother loves me, and she's going to definitely watch mine more than anybody else's. Since she thought it was mine, her own son's, she will surely watch it careful. Alama Rava says, poor guy that gave it to him. Alama Rava mishtava iu da'ano zuze ashlimnu le'ime. He swears that he gave it over to his mother. Umishtava in ime, and the mother swears da'ano zuze oisvinu bekartelisa, that she put it in the chest. The ignav upater, and both of them are pater. And of course, the moral of the story is stay away from Marshall and his mother. We knew that was the moral of the story. Now, Hahu Apitrapa, there was a guardian of Yomi. Hahu Apitrapa, here, Ruvain likes to do mitzvahs. He was a guardian for orphans. So Hahu Apitrapa liyasme, the Zovan lu Tura liyasme. He bought an axe for the assignment. he bought an ox. It was a way to generate money for the Yisayimim. So he bought an ox for the Yisayimim. Umasrei lebakra. And Reuben, the guardian, he's not taking care of an ox. He gives it over to Dr. Block, who was a herdsman, to take care of it. It turns out that this ox didn't have back teeth or front teeth. It didn't have back teeth and front teeth. So while Dr. Block fed the other cattle, it didn't eat, and Dr. Block didn't know, and the animal just died from starvation. And it died. So now the question is, who's responsible over here? How should the judges just judge this case? We tell Reuven, you bought the ox for the Yisayimim, go pay. So Reuven says, with righteous indignation, I gave it to the renowned herdsman, Dr. Black. I gave it to Dr. Black to watch it. You can't fault me. I did everything right. So let's tell Dr. Black to pay. I put it amongst the other oxen. I fed them, I put food before them at the trough. What do you think? I have the time to sit and watch how they're eating lunch? I have to learn daf, I have to learn chok, I have to make a living. I think I have time to look. Says the Gemara, well, wait a second. Dr. Block can't get off the hook so easily. He's a paid watchman for orphans. I mean, Reuven paid him. He's a paid watchman for orphans. He should have noticed that for 4 days the ox didn't have a morsel in his mouth, and he wasted away. Says the Gemara, you're right. If the orphans would be out of pocket, so then we could go after Dr. Black. You're right. If the orphans would have been out of pocket, so then we could go after Dr. Black. But over here, the orphans are not out of pocket, because Reuven bought this ox from the well-known shyster Marshall. Right? Why he would do that, again, I have no idea. But he bought it from Marshall, and Marshall sold him a dud. He sold him a lemon. So Reuven is, he's going to say it's a mekach tois. You can't sell me an ox without teeth. What I have to buy dentures for the ox? Right? So he's getting his money back from Marshall. Why? He got a hold of Marshall, the owner of the ox, and the Yisayimim got replenished. Says the Gemara, Elaman Koton, who has a tain over here? Who's trying to litigate? Marshall's trying to litigate. Elaman Koton, Murray de Torah Koton. The owner of the ox was yelling. What was he yelling? What was he yelling? So he was yelling, Now, this gets the plot over here. The plot over here thickens. Here, they say that he should have informed me that it didn't have teeth. In other words, Reuven should have told him that it didn't have teeth. Says the Gemara, what kind of a claim is that? My modinale, what do you mean he should have informed him? Made a yada. Obviously Marshall knows, he sold him the dud. It was his ox, so obviously Marshall knows. How can you have a tain on Reuven that he should have told him? You know, Marshall knew it, he was the one that hoodwinked Reuven. Says, made the yada the mekartais have it. That's why it was a mekartais. Says the Gemara, Besafsira. No. What happened was Marshall was a middleman. He flipped oxen. He bought it, he sold it. He bought it, he sold it. He didn't even know that it didn't have teeth. Says the Gemara, Besafsira. It's talking about when Marshall was a middleman. There's Zavin Mahacha, he buys it from Dr. Guy, or Mazvin Lacha, and he sold it to Reuven. Hilkach Mishtave Iu Deloy Havayad. Here, the owner swears that he didn't know. If the owner swears that he didn't know, so there is a little liability, not to Reuven, because Reuven handed it over right away to Dr. Black. So there is a little liability to Dr. Black, because Dr. Black should have noticed that the animal is not eating for 4 days. And then Umishalim Bakra, then Dr. Black, we don't make him pay a lot. We make him pay for the meat of the animal when it's bought cheap, which is at 2/3 the regular market rate. Umishalim Bakra Dmei Basar Bizul. So Dr. Black didn't get out of this, here Marshall swears, I was a middleman, I didn't know I was selling a bum deal. Bottom line is, Reuven is off the hook because he says, you did sell me a lemon, so it's a mekach, right? So the Yisraelim get back their money. But Marshall says, look, Dr. Black, you had it for 4 days, you should have seen that it wasn't eating. So we make Dr. Black have minimal liability. Now, the next case is really wild. Really wild. How Gavra, what happens over here now is Shelley is Afkid Kishosa Gabe Chavre. Again, why people do this is beyond me. But Shelley deposits hops by Marshall. Now, from hops you make beer, so you could understand that Shelley has his own hops. I mean, Marshall has his own hops because he's a guzzler, right? So he guzzles beer. So he has his own hops. You're getting me thirsty, Marshall. Don't do that. And here I am. You see what I'm drinking? And it's not vodka. Yeah. Anyway, so Hahu Gavra, Shelley deposits Kishosa Gabe Chavre. He deposits hops by Marshall. Now, Havalei Didei Nami Karya de Kishusa. Marshall has his own personal stock of hops. So now, Marshall wants to brew beer. So Amalei L'Srise, he tells his worker, and that's another well-known man, Mark. He tells Mark, take Mehai Rami. Take from the pile, meaning he tells Mark to take from his pile. But Mark doesn't know hops from hops. So Mark takes Shelley's hops. So Azul Rama Meidach, he takes from Shelley's hops. And he used Shelley's hops. Amar Rav Amram, so of course now Shelley is hopping mad. Right? So Amar Rav Amram, Heichin Dainu Daine Lahaidina. What should we do? Name a Layla Day Zil Shlim. We tell Marshall pay Shelley for his hops. I told him take from my pile. So name a Layla Sri say Zil Shlim. Let Mark pay because he took the wrong hops. So Mark says with righteous indignation that only somebody from Bela Kinwood can do. He never told me to take from this one and not from that one. Says the Gemara, but if Shelley's hops were further away and Mark took a long time to get the hops, if he waited a while to bring it, and he didn't bring it so quickly, so Goliadata Denichle, then it's clear that Marshall was happy that he took Shelley's hops because he saw that he didn't bring it for a while, so he must have been taking the hops of Shelley that he put away. Says the Gemara, but Elisha, there was no time difference. So the Gemara says, I don't understand, what's the difference? Marshall now has beer, which he benefited, and he used Shelley's hops. So why shouldn't he have to pay Shelley? Maybe he used Shelley's hops. Says the Gemara, safe, my pseidika. What loss is there? He would have used his hops. Now he used Shelley's hops. So let him give Shelley his own hops. I mean, he benefited. He used Shelley's hops. Says the Gemara, he benefited. What's the shaila? Of course Marshall should pay Shelley. Says the Gemara, yeah, but you know what happened? The beer became vinegar. So Marshall didn't get any benefit. The beer became vinegar, so you didn't get any benefit. So Shelley can't say you benefited from my hops. Rav Ashi says, Bekise. No, Shelley's hops had thorns in it. And therefore it made a very inferior beer. And Einachanami, Marshall will have to pay him the price of inferior beer. U'mishalim demei kise, he has to pay him the price of inferior hops. And that's true. And according to that, it's a really simple case. Marshall used Shelley's hops. The hops were inferior, and he pays for the inferior hops. That's not a big chiddush. Now, Rabbi say, let me tell you now what's going to happen. We have I did the Mishnah Yomis already because we have the Haggadah here now, which is very exciting, a very special Haggadah here. The title of this Haggadah here is the glorious mitzvah of matzah. The glorious mitzvah of matzah. Now again, I tell people, this is the shir that I'm going to give in Fairways on Shabbos at 5:30. So if you're coming to the shir at 5:30 on Shabbos, you don't have to stay to hear it now. But if you're not, or some people want to hear it twice, and then you're more than welcome to stay. But if not, this is the shir that I'm giving Emir Hashem on Shabbos, so you could enjoy it on Shabbos. Let's just set this up. Very exciting shir now, which I finished writing on the plane in the midst of high turbulence.